Hello, everyone, and welcome to the fifth session of Star Trek Bastet. If this is your first time joining us, welcome. We are an actual play podcast that is role playing using the Star Trek Adventures system by Modifius Entertainment. What I would say is that if you like Star Trek and you like role playing, Star Trek Adventures is the system for you. Now, if you're again just tuning in, we're sort of running with an interesting premise that we are a temporally displaced Prometheus class that is trying to get home to the correct timeline, which leads to a bunch of journey home themes and just time shenanigans in general. Now, of course, don't stress if you can't stick around for the full session or if you missed parts of the previous episodes. The VODs and audio only versions are available on YouTube and most of the popular podcast solutions. In terms of announcements, I just have sort of a teaser. For those of you looking for a Romulan game, session 0 is tomorrow. Won't be streamed, but what that's going to mean is that as long as session 0 goes well, Sunday the 24th at 9 p.m. will be the first session of Star Trek Saith. And that'll be an all Romulan, all Tal Shiar game. Should be a lot of fun. So definitely check that out. But other than that, I don't think I have anything else. So let's just go around and have everyone introduce themselves, starting with. Let's start with the captain.
Hi everyone, my name is Alex. I am playing Lieutenant Abbassi, the ship's acting captain.
Nikhil, you would be next.
Yep, my name is Nikhil, and I play Lieutenant Alexio.
Mr. Brian.
I am Brian. I'm at MindoverBrian on Twitter and on Twitch, although on Twitch I spell it with a 0. And I'm playing Lieutenant Baylor Droxine.
You're up next, Wolf.
Oh, I'm sorry. Wow, I didn't realize what the order is. Hi, I'm Wolf, Dare Wolf. I am playing Lieutenant Cater, the medical officer who's maybe a little insane. We'll find out.
A little?
And my name is Matthew. I play the Benzite Lieutenant Tyr Thavarin.
And of course, if you don't know me by now, I'm ELH, the Game Master, Q, God, whatever the hell you want to call me in this context. And yeah, let's just run our very quick little intro stinger here.
What does God need with a role-playing?
What does God need with a role-playing group? There you go. Very nice. So something I like doing for Star Trek Adventures is I like having the players do an opening log just to sum up events. And since this is a two-parter, we have a supplemental log. And I believe, Mr. Droxine, you have that today.
Lieutenant Droxine's log, supplemental. While attempting to gather more information on the changes we've perceived to the timeline, the Bastet has found herself in the midst of an unusual gravimetric phenomena while responding to a distress call. Our efforts to rescue the NX-class U.S.S. Intrepid from where she lay on a protoplanet's surface seemed to be going well until the sole survivor informed us she was a former Q.
Oh, is that it?
That's it.
No, I was waiting
all
for
you
an
need.
end log. I like, is there an end log coming? Is this dramatic pause? I wasn't sure. All right. So we are literally going to resume where we left off, and that is on the bridge of the Intrepid. So we sort of see the interior of a Columbia class or an NX refit. And present is Tavarin, Lieutenant Relore, and Ensign V. Everybody else is more or less listening in via comms, but we're just going to drop that bombshell again. And Ensign V just sort of says, "Oh yeah, I used to be I'm a former member of the Q Continuum." And Relore just literally face desks. Everybody can hear it. It's that loud. And she goes, "Why? Why did it have to be a Q? Why?"
You're a former member of the Continuum. Does that mean that you've renounced your powers?
And she kind of squints at you. Damn, that's annoying. I used to be able to like look at people and tell what time they were from. Do you know about a little ship called Voyager?
I'm familiar with some of their exploits and the mess they've left behind them in the Delta Quadrant.
Did you ever read their logs about a certain incident in the continuum?
I find that question to be rather vague. Could
Hmm.
you elaborate?
Well, um, long story short, we let a Q kill themselves, and then we started killing each other because that makes sense. It doesn't. I still don't get it. I'm used to be omnipotent, and I still don't get why we were doing that.
I don't think that actually answers the question that I asked you. Are you still in possession of your powers and you simply refuse to use them?
Oh, right. Sorry. Um, this is my first time explaining it. I kind of am bouncing all over the place. Yes. So, long story short, Q Civil War. We more or less ended up using weapons that stripped people of their powers, and let's just say that I'm what you would call a refugee from that war, where I just sort of picked the one place I thought I wouldn't be found, and that's why I'm Ensign V on the Intrepid, which got thrown through time apparently because you're here.
I see. That's distinctly unfortunate. Give me a moment, please. And Thavarin will tap his comm badge. Captain,
Go ahead.
I imagine that you've been listening to this conversation as it's been unfolding. However, I just wanted to inform you that based on what I've heard here, I think we might have to accept Ensign V as a refugee according to Starfleet protocol. It sounds like she just made a request for it.
I think I'm going to have to agree with that. This is going to be more trouble than I think I'm ready for.
What are your orders, Captain?
Once we get this ship to safety, we need everyone back here on the Bastet.
And an NX class ship can't be piloted by one individual. Do you want me to bring Ensign V with us?
Yes.
And Thavarin will then turn for a moment to Ensign V. And are you amenable to that?
I mean, to be frank, I thought that the creature outside would pretty much eat me. So yeah, I'm down with that.
I'm also familiar with the exploits of the Q that originally contacted the Enterprise and how he tormented an alien energy race known as the Calamarain. Are
Oh,
we dealing with a similar situation here?
I honestly don't know. I mean, no, it's not like I've tormented the being at all. It's not like I know what they are. I just know, and I don't really have a basis for this feeling, but something feels wrong about them. Like they don't belong here.
Well, none of us do, so it's in good company, I suppose.
No, but see, that's the funny thing. Like, I know Relore over there is hating herself to death, and you just sort of hear Relore, why? And she just sort of V sort of just shakes her head and goes, I mean, I I look at you, Tavarin, and yeah, you're temporally displaced, but I don't feel wrong about looking at you. But if I look at that thing outside, whatever the hell it is, I it's just something in my gut tells me it's not right.
Well, far be it for me to question a Q's intuition, at least. Nonetheless, we should probably report back to our ship. Are
Right.
you ready to depart?
What you know what we're gonna do with the Intrepid here?
That would be up to the captain's discretion.
Fair enough. So how we doing this? We transporting? We taking a shuttle?
Transporting would be faster. Captain,
Good.
are you able to transport the three of us back to the Bastet now that we have been removed from the planet's surface?
I should be able to do that without much issue.
I'll report into you once we reach the transporter room.
All right.
Very good, Captain.
So, what I'm going to say, and also as a refresher, so if memory serves and my notes are correct, you initially split up the Bastet in order to go into multi-vector assault mode. One to monitor the wormhole anomaly, and the other two to go lift up the ship, the Intrepid. So, as we sort of see an external shot of the situation, we see the planet falling by the wayside as Beta and Gamma section of Bastet, almost like a sandwich, kind of have their tractor beams lock on the Columbia class, the Intrepid. And as they pull it out of the atmosphere, what you're going to notice is that there's this kind of like blue spark coming up from the surface of the planet. And what you see is that alien, once again, that sort of spectral being that is made out of wisps of what could be literally stardust. Interestingly, though, whereas before there wasn't really a whole lot of coloration, there was just like light blues and dark blues and teals and just sort of jet inky blackness. What you're seeing now are basically these red sort of orbs, vaguely eye shaped and vaguely like in the location you would think they would be on like a serpent-like creature. But there's also like tendrils of red that sort of swoop back like an antenna as this creature begins to swoop up and more or less begin to encircle the Bastet Beta, Gamma, and the Intrepid as one large group. And the immediate effects of that is that what those of you on the Bastet are going to see is that you are losing power rapidly.
So it is an energy wraith. Are we actually seeing it? Because last time it was just Cater who was seeing it.
Yes, what I
You
would
actually
say
see it.
is that is the other distinction. Everybody sees it this time.
And is the Intrepid losing power?
Yes, the Intrepid's power, the lights are flickering, the consoles are winking in and out. The main difference, I would say, between what's going on in the Intrepid and what's going on in the Bastet, the Intrepid's older. It only has a Warp 5 engine. Very easy to eat up all the power there. The difference with the Bastet is the Bastet is going to lose a power every so often. But the Intrepid is more or less stuck at 0 power, if that makes any sense.
Doctor, give me a scan.
Just about to suggest that, acting captain. I would like to scan the creature for the way in which it's draining power to try and figure out a way to reverse it and maybe like repulse it. So like if it was like a magnet, I want to put both the same poles together. So however it's drawing power, that's what I'm trying to analyze, and then I can reverse the shield polarity to like match
Repulse
that
it.
power so it would repel it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
All right, cool.
I'm gonna say this is going to be a reason and a science.
Okay.
The ship will assist you with a computers and science, I think.
Cool.
Well, it's between sensors and computers. Let's do
What's the
computers.
difficulty?
The difficulty is the big one. It's gonna be a 4.
All right, fantastic. Crew, would you mind if I used 3 dice to get 2 extra die?
Go
You're
for
not
it.
telling anybody what you're doing. You should just do whatever you want.
Well, no, I mean, I want to ask questions. Like, come on. You literally suggested it. Like, and I'm trying to be better, acting captain. Why do you have to be like this? We're about to die, and now you're questioning my like.
No, I wasn't. I was just telling you to do. I asked you to scan it. You decided you were going to repolarize the shields. Those are not the same. It's still a great idea.
Oh my god.
All right. And what is the ship rolling again?
Computer science.
Didn't you say you
Cautious
spent
science? I get to re-roll if I spend a momentum, right?
Didn't you say that you were spending 3 momentum? You only rolled 3 dice. You should have rolled 4.
Yeah, you should have rolled 4.
Oh, my bad.
And yeah, if you have cautious science, you can re-roll
So
one of
re-roll
those
2
die.
dice. I'm gonna re-roll.
Does it matter that he rolled the Bastet and not the Bastet Alpha?
No, it shouldn't matter. The only reason the
Okay.
Bastet Alpha, Beta, and Gamma are separate is because they needed their own power bars and own shield bars.
That was a good catch, though. I didn't think of that.
Boom.
Well, it's only because I have the Alpha pulled up.
Oh, get all that momentum back.
Yeah, so let's see. That is 7 successes, which means, yeah, you do get all that momentum right back. So, Cater, what you're seeing doesn't make sense. And I know I've probably said that a little too much in a Star Trek game, but when I say it doesn't make sense, I mean it really, really, really doesn't make sense. You're looking at a creature that defies explanation. What I mean by that is the quantum signature can't possibly exist in your universe. The way it's moving, the computer has no idea how it's locomoting. Even its cellular makeup, if you could even call it cellular, the computer's just looking at it like, you've asked me to explain the entire universe down to its quantum level, and I've got no idea what I'm looking at. So I know it's not what you were looking for, but you do get a bunch of questions, probably more questions than answers from your scan. But what I would say is with momentum, you can spend 1 momentum per question, and I do have to answer that question truthfully.
Doesn't he count as our chief science officer?
He's chief medical last I checked.
Ah,
Not
damn
chief
it.
science officer, yeah, can't be both. First question,
Mm-hmm.
God King. I would like to know.
Nice.
I would like to know, how is it draining power so that I can try to reverse it?
Gotcha. So the way it's draining power is it is somehow managing to, well, as you put it earlier, it's acting as a magnet. So the polarity of your shields, the polarity of your deflector array, it is essentially doing the reverse. So if you're north, it's south.
Mhm.
And it's actually a very rudimentary process that conceivably you could just reverse the polarity and it would stop. But the more you look at what the creature is made of and how it's accomplishing this feat somehow, you remember how I said V had that gut feeling that she looked at the creature and felt wrong? I think it's fair for me to say you're starting to get that same gut feeling.
I don't like it. All right, more questions. Anybody have any suggestions? Because that was my main question. It's what I went into this with. So anybody else got any questions they want answered?
Does the quantum signature of the creature match the quantum signature of the anomaly, which is creating the...
That's a good question.
Boom, that question.
So actually, yes, that is a very good question because yes, whatever the object, the Schrodinger object that keeps like you look at it and it disappears, then you look away and it comes back. Whatever it is of the same quantum signature as the creature. But again, the quantum signature of the creature, by all laws of the known universe, should not be able to exist. It's to use a math term, for example, it's the concept of I. Like I does not exist in the real world. It is literally imaginary. That's kind of the same thing here, that the quantum signature is some form of I.
Cool. So I figured out how to repulse it. I want to not only repulse it, but based on this imaginary thing, how would I, in reality, shunt it back to wherever it came from?
That might be a little too much for a momentum question.
I tried. It was worth a try. Come on. You can't blame me.
I don't know that you're supposed to get a how question out of things.
Yeah, how is a little much.
See how the GM's feeling, maybe a little punchy and like froggy or whatever. It's fine. It's good.
What's the answer to solving this entire problem that you're
So we
confronted
gotta
with?
say, you tell me how to fix it. No? Okay. Anybody else have any other questions? Because I feel pretty confident with the questions that I've asked. Anybody else have anything they want answered? Matthew, I'm looking at you.
I hesitate to suggest this question, and feel free not to ask it if we don't want to consider this method, but is there any way that we could modulate our weapons to actually affect it?
You guys want me to answer it? Ask it, because I'll do it.
I mean, we should know the answer, whether we use that information or not.
Yeah.
What I would say is that it's a good thing you asked, because if it comes down to it and you have to start shooting the creature, you're only going to get one shot. And
One
I mean
opportunity?
literally one shot, because looking at the quantum makeup of this thing, if I were to compare, you're looking at some sort of 8472/Borg regeneration that is going to adapt so quickly to your weapons fire that, again, one shot is maybe already pushing it.
Let's not try and kill it.
All right.
I would like
That's a lot of pressure.
remodulate
bridge to captain.
shields to repel it.
Go ahead, Droxine.
Do you remember the energy wraith that Cater reported while we were down on the planet's surface that was surrounding the Intrepid?
Yes.
It seems to now be circling the other two parts of the ship and the Intrepid. You may want to return to the bridge, Captain.
I'm on my way.
Boop, 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 boop. I wanna
And
revive
as you
the
return to the
shield.
bridge, Droxine, Varissa kind of calls, Tamarochka's calling from Gamma section. Should I put them on or wait for Abbassi to get here?
Oh, put her on screen.
And appearing on screen is, well, let's just say Tamarochka's seen better days. Her hair is like disheveled, like her bun's not holding anymore. She has scorch marks or like black marks of soot on her cheeks. Behind her is a sparking console, and she just says, "Oh, good, you are coming back. Not moment too soon. I am only able to keep structural integrity running for 5 minutes. So yes, if you could go ahead and reconnect with me, that would be great."
We're on our way, Tamarochka.
Oh,
Alpha
and
out.
other thing, Mr. Acting Captain.
Stop with that.
Oh no, I'm saying it because I am mad because somebody never told me what was happening. You literally separated ship when I was in Jeffrey's too.
I heard about that, yeah.
Let's just say that both you and I don't care if he's acting captain, but you and Abbassi will be scrubbing conduits for this. I just want that on
What?
record.
Why do I mean, you know what? That sounds fair.
Very good. And then she goes to turn it off, but before she can like turn it off, there's another big shower of sparks from behind her, and the screen just goes dead.
All right.
So yeah, we need to handle two very important things at this point. We need to handle the transport of the people from the Intrepid. We also need to handle reconnecting the ship. Both are two roles. Which would you guys like to accomplish first?
We should probably transport the people off the Intrepid
Okay.
first.
So the reason I ask is because again, we are dealing with a power wraith or a spectral wraith of some sort, so it does matter here. But let's get a yes or no. What are you thinking, Captain? Transport or reconnect first?
What is our current power situation as it is right now between the alpha and beta sections?
My understanding is that both alpha and beta are currently at 3 power each.
And if we reconnect, power is going to go back up?
Yes, basically you will combine your power and it will be as if alpha and beta were fully powered, but gamma will be not powered, if that makes any sense.
If I may, I believe that beta actually has 0 power.
Yeah, I think beta is actually totally
I
dry.
remember because you guys rolled a complication and you guys were stuck at 0 power. Like you were still able to move and use your tractor beam, but I remember now, yes.
Yeah, beta's totally out as well.
So maybe you want to bring your best engineer back to beta section so he can perform a power management action.
I say in this case, it won't matter if we reconnect first or second. So yes, bring everyone back on board.
Okay. So, the way this is going to work is it's going to be your standard transport task, but again, for whatever reason, transporting is the most difficult role to break down. So, you're coming from a transporter pad on the Intrepid, and you are beaming them to a transporter pad on the Bastet, so no difficulty increase there. You're already within close range of the ship, or the Intrepid, so no increase there. There is interference from the creature, but rather than impose a difficulty, I will say there's a complication range involved. The other thing that I have to note is that you, in order to transport, you would have to drop shields, which could be a reason or that you delay. Else you're sort of risking that the creature might drain away a little bit more power than you were expecting, if you get where I'm going with this.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, who would be actually performing the transport is my question.
Probably me.
Okay.
I kind of assumed he was in the transport room right now from having transported them in the first place.
Well, you never know. So, Abbassi, I need you to roll me a control and an engineering. The ship will assist you with a sensors engineering. The difficulty is 2. The complication range is a 17 to 20.
Everyone okay if I use 1 momentum for an extra die?
Yes, Captain.
Please.
Bastet got you one.
Yep, you got one from the Bastet, so we just need to see at least one from you.
I don't think I have any focuses that would work on transporters.
Yeah, probably not looking at them.
Believe in you, Captain Kitty.
All right, so that is 2 successes, and you're lucky. That's a 16 out of 17. So yes. V, Relure, and Tavarin, I think I've actually got a transporter room somewhere. No, of course I don't. Why would I not have a transporter room? Anyway, you rematerialize in the transporter room, and standing at the console is Abbassi. And as Relure just sort of says, "All right, I'm going to
Oh,
the
yeah.
bridge. I need space. I need space."
And I am rolling my untapped potential.
Yep.
Almost forgot.
Oh, we should have gotten that earlier. Hey, threat. I'll take threat.
So
Of course.
So that second one was Cater rolling for his previous one. So you got a threat, and we get a momentum.
A momentum. So as Relore sort of storms out or basically escapes the situation, Abbassi and Tavarin, you're left with Ensign V. And Ensign V just sort of looks around and goes, "Huh. I don't know this class. What class is this?"
Prometheus class. Right now, we need to deal with whatever it is that's out there.
Yes, probably a good idea to do that.
That's going to turn and start heading back towards the bridge.
And Thavarin will simply follow, but he's going to make sure that he ushers V along with them. Just
All
keeping
right,
an eye on her.
so you're all heading to the bridge at this point, yes?
Yes.
Okay. All right, so we go back to the Bastet Bridge, where after a dramatic amount of time, both Abbassi, Tavarin, and V all step out of the turbolift onto the bridge.
Where did Raylure go?
Relore didn't come to the bridge for some reason. Maybe you should look into
Alright.
that later.
In which case I return to my seat.
I will go to the captain's seat.
And I head off to an engineering console.
All right.
Actually, I guess before I go to my seat, I stand up so that I can give the captain the quick rundown. So we've done an intense scan of the creature, Captain. It looks like our weapons might get one shot at this if we decide to go that direction, but we only have a few minutes before it'll have fully drained the power of both the gamma and beta sections, and our power is not lasting much longer either. The Intrepid is already out of power.
All right, let's get reconnected as quickly as we can, then try and get power back up.
Aye, sir.
And V just sort of still stands near the door, and Marissa sort of looks over and goes, "Oh, hello, V, was it? I don't really know if you could help us, but what are your skills?" And V just sort of puffs out her chest and goes, "Well, I have approximate knowledge of many things." And Marissa goes, "Right, Captain, what should we do with her?"
See if she can assist us in any scans that we need to take care of.
Very well. V, if you'd come sit next to me, please. And V joins Marissa over on the right side of the bridge. And at this point, I think we need to reconnect the ship, get power. What's the order of operations here?
Reconnect the ship, then get power.
All right. So, this is a complicated roll, but one I believe you could pass quite well. So, with Droxine at the helm, you're going to be rolling me a control and a con. And
Okay.
the ship will assist you with a structure and engineering. And this task has to be accomplished twice, meaning that if you connect beta and gamma, that's one. To connect then the beta gamma hybrid to alpha, that's another. And the difficulty for each is going to be 2. And what I'm going to say, though, is that the complication from the creature, this is going to cost 1 power each attempt. And the alpha section only has 2 power remaining. So
boy.
make sure you do well here.
I have a
All right,
question. I have a question though, because
what you
I
got?
did make that scan and I have an ability to repel it. Can I use that to create an advantage to reduce the difficulty by 1?
I tell you what, if you give me 2 momentum to create this advantage, the difficulty is still going to be 2, but the power requirement is no longer a thing, meaning that if need be, you could attempt multiple times to reconnect the ship.
Is everybody cool with that?
Sounds worth it.
I
Yeah.
think that's worth it.
Narratively effective, yes.
Skadoosh. Done.
All right.
So I
I'm gonna-
remodulate the shields and like magnetically repulse it.
Yep.
I'm going to spend that last momentum on a third dice. Helm operations as
Most
a
definitely.
focus.
So, what is the ship rolling again?
Bam!
Structure engineering. And yeah, that's already 5
Engineering.
successes. That
Oh!
is impressive.
25.
6 successes. Nice.
Boom!
So you're going to get 4 momentum from that. And yeah, so Alpha and Beta join up first. And as you guys are flying out with the Intrepid still in tow, you sort of swoop towards Gamma Section, which is slowly falling towards the wormhole anomaly. And as you swoop in, I'm actually going to spend 2 threat to create the complication that at this point, Gamma loses its full control over its impulse engines, meaning it is now rocketing towards the
Oh boy.
event threshold of the anomaly, meaning that your difficulty is going to double here. Your difficulty is now a 4 in order to reconnect. Still a control con, still a structure engineering, but the difficulty is going to be 4.
Could I suggest, rather than trying to reconnect with it immediately, we grab it in a tractor beam and pull it away from the effect of the anomaly?
I was
before
about
attempting
to.
reconnect?
I was about to suggest the same thing.
Just going to say, I'm happy to drop the Intrepid if need be.
Guys, I can do this. We could get it at speed and get out of here in one fell swoop.
I have faith in the pilot.
I think it would probably be a safer bet to try and tractor it a little further from that event horizon before we reattach.
Boring.
Because I like stirring the pot, what I'm going to say here is that if you fail the tractor beam test, you're not going to be able to just swoop in and reconnect. The ship will end up in the anomaly proper.
Swoop.
Captain, these readings are showing that we got one shot. Either we try and reconnect or we tractor it, but we'll only have time to try one of them.
Give him a chance, Captain. He's never let us down yet.
Well, why don't you curse things even further? Barissa shouts from across the bridge.
If we go the route of this is out of character. If we go the route of tractor beam, what would the difficulty on that be?
The difficulty would be a 3. It would be a control security assisted by the ship's structure security. The problem is that, again, you're sort of dealing with a space-time anomaly. So the complication range would be a 16 to 20.
Swoop, 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 swoop. I do that in character. Start saying
Nice.
swoop.
And I think V actually gets into it. She starts popping her fist and goes, yeah, swoop, swoop. What are we swooping? I don't get it.
Swoop.
What are we...
Captain, both plans are entirely valuable. We just need an answer now.
Droxine, do it.
All right.
All right. So, Droxine, control con, difficulty of 4. Ship is assisting you with structure engineering.
I'm going to use my determination, tapping the greatness can come from the humblest of origins, because Droxine's so humble.
Of course.
For the 2 free successes off the top, I will spend the 3 momentum to... Oh, no, I guess the 2 momentum to get a third dice.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah. Let's...
Alright.
helm operations again?
Yeah, would be helm operations.
And it's
Oh,
wait.
That's at least one complication.
And it's structure engineering from the ship.
You got it.
Okay, we could still.
Yep.
Do it.
Yes.
There you go.
All
Okay.
right.
Okay. Do you have cautious piloting or cautious home operations or anything?
No, I have flyby and precise evasion.
Yeah, so I think what's going to happen is, yes, you swoop in, and the quote-unquote top portion of the Prometheus class begins to dock with the secondary, and it's one of those things where, in order to pull off this maneuver, you have to sort of swoop in at like a drifting angle, so it's almost like Eurobeat plays for a little bit as you swoop in, initial D style, and you more or less match the rotation of Gamma Section with the larger Bastet at this point. And as the ships begin to magnetize and pull together, the complication is going to be that the creature is going to sort of knock you off course. So for a moment, there's a noticeable rock across the ship as the inertial dampeners try to compensate. And the power flickers for just a minute before there's a noticeable thunk, and you can all confirm that you are now reconnected completely. The Bastet is in one whole piece at this point.
Status.
We're all reconnected, Captain. What are your orders?
What's the status outside? Where are we in relation to the anomaly? Where are we in relation to this creature?
V just sort of points at the view screen, and if I can put you guys on this map real quick. So that sort of sphere that you're seeing is the event horizon. You're like right about here. So you're maybe a few hundred thousand kilometers off. You're actually pretty dang close to the thing. And the power is correct. You should be at 7 out of 17 power.
Bavarin is going to turn in his chair to the doctor. And, Doctor, you initiated telepathic contact with this creature that we've encountered, yes? Did you detect anything besides curiosity? I mean, was it in any way frightened?
No. The best way I can describe it is though I was an ant looking up at a human. I was nothing compared to its vastness. I don't know if that makes sense, but it's the only way in which I can describe it. We are but insects to this creature.
As much as I hate to suggest this, it seemed very interested in the Intrepid. I was wondering if we dropped it, whether it'd leave us alone, unless it was our new friend here that he's after.
It does seem to have a motivation beyond simply drawing power. I mean, if we are as like unto amoeba to it, then surely it can't actually need our power for some purpose.
Unless it's snacking, like grazing.
It's
Like
an awfully large anteater.
Like a cow?
Like an anteater. Like exactly what Thavarn was saying.
Oh yeah, makes sense.
Remind me, Thavarn, if I recall correctly, NX class ships still had a warp core ejection matrix, didn't they?
They should, yes.
What if we goosed the Intrepid's warp core matrix and then ejected it and let the energy wraith chase the? We power down the Bastet systems and then launch a active warp reactor out into space. We're going to want to upgrade the Intrepid's warp drive anyway.
Not if we want to try to preserve the timeline more than we've already done so.
There's a queue that messed with this ship anyway. Didn't you say that the temporal signature on that ship didn't make any sense?
Nothing about anything we've done makes any sense, Lieutenant.
And just as a further notation, if we're going to go back in time to fix the timeline, nothing we do here matters. Plus, if we're dead, no one's going to do that.
So V kind of leans into Varessa and says in what she thinks is in her inside voice, but everybody can hear it. Man, this guy's kind of intense. How do you deal with him? And Varessa goes, I sort of just take it as it comes. I've sort of learned that it's best to sort of shake your head yes and go along with what he says so that he thinks he's right.
Oh, hurts my feelings so much.
But as she says that, she does actually turn to you, Droxine, and gives you a wink.
It's entirely up to you, Captain. It may draw the creature off. Although we still have no idea what it wants or why it's draining power from the ship, so we're operating on speculation.
Right now, the creature, does it appear to have any aversion to getting closer to this anomaly?
Is that question for me, or is that question in character?
In character.
So I think our Trill buddy, Mir, is actually going to speak up and goes, "Sorry, Captain, I know I've been rather quiet recently. Comparing what our good buddy Cater here scanned earlier, this is going to sound strange, but I think this is a nest."
A nest.
Yes, the well, whatever it is, the Schrodinger's object that we just can't get a read on in the center of the anomaly. Are you familiar with incident on the Enterprise D where they ran into a Romulan warbird where aliens were infesting the quantum singularity at its heart?
No, I'm not aware of that.
I remember this one.
So basically, these extra planar entities, I feel like there should be a better word for that, but basically, this nest is the anomaly.
Is this creature then some kind of parent that's gathering food for its offspring?
That would make sense.
I mean, either that or it's a baby just taking its first steps out in the universe.
That would be rather horrifying.
Or amazing. I mean, it's like a first contact. Is that what we're all about? Nobody? Just me? Okay.
What are the chances this is a result of the interruption of the time stream that we're responsible for?
There's just that unnerving silence as nobody wants to answer.
Because here's the thing: if it is a result of our interference in the timeline, and this is a unique circumstance that won't arise because this life form is unknown to us in our time, if we revert the timeline to the one we know, are we not ending a new life form's existence?
It's right about
Technically-
then, and I don't usually interrupt, but it's right about then that as we sort of look back at the bridge, the turbolift doors open, and stepping out of them is Lieutenant Relure. But something's off about her. Normally, she has, a fairly confident swagger to her. She's very, she can be emotional, or at least I've tried to play her very emotional. But as she walks in, she looks lost. She looks as if she's not really sure where she is. But the other thing that you notice is that her eyes, normally a Betazoid's eyes are darker colored. Her eyes are a vibrant, glowing blue. And as she sort of looks around, Varissa and Mir kind of both look at her and then look at you, Abbassi.
Abbassi kind of turns to look towards Riller. Lieutenant, is that you?
And in a voice which I'm going to try to do, but basically imagine what she says coming across in the G-Man voice. So sort of a stuttering, almost like syllables are said at the wrong points in words. For those of you that might remember G-Man from Half-Life. But I'll still try to do my best. So Relore, quote unquote, says, "Captain, the creature is attempting to contact us."
Abbassi just kind of stares for a moment. Lieutenant Cater, I want you to run scans, see if Lieutenant Riller if she's all right. If this is affecting her, if this is dangerous.
Of course, Captain. ELH, what kind of check do I need to make?
Reason medicine, difficulty of 3. And I'll tell you what, since you're using the ship sensors to do it, I'll give you a sensors medicine.
You're a good man.
Nice.
Would anybody mind if I used a momentum?
Do it.
Go for it.
Oh, wait, real quick. Untap potential.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Jump shots. Just the one.
All right, so no momentum, no threat.
3, 2, 1. Boom.
All right, so that is 4 successes. You get your momentum right back. Apparently I'm just doing a lot of metaphors tonight, but Cater, if I were to try to describe what you're seeing, let's do it this way. So, for example, when you order a foam mattress, it usually comes compressed, pretty much wrapped up very tightly. It's as if someone is trying to compact this quote-unquote mattress, this mind of a creature, into a very, very small receptacle, aka Rellure. And it's definitely going to cause some harm if it tries to compress anything further into Rellure's mind.
Short answer, yes, Captain. Long answer, not for long.
As is some form of telepathic communication, would you be able to act as a secondary?
I can act as a buffer, Captain. I will attempt to establish a telepathic connection with Rellure to help offset some of the pressure inside of her mind. And I'm going to try to connect with her mentally to help release some of this pressure to hopefully make it so that she doesn't, have a brain melt.
Let's just say I was waiting
Captain,
for that. Oh, go ahead.
Captain, with permission, while he's doing that, can I try and think of a way to break the connection if necessary? Our good friend doctor is a little long-winded. If he goes on too long, I don't want Lieutenant Riller to be injured.
Yes, please work on that, Lieutenant Alexio.
All right. So, Cater, I was waiting for you to try this because I had a feeling you would.
Of course I am.
So, I have to spend 2 threat to activate this effect, but when you reach out with your mind, what happens, and everybody sees this, there's literally a blue bolt of energy that emanates from her temple to yours. And I now have to roll some challenge dice.
Yikes.
This seems bad.
So, Cater, you're going to take 2 stress of damage as you are psychically and, I don't want to say pyrokinetically, but pretty close to it. You're rebuffed, and you're knocked back in your seat pretty heavily from the force of the blow.
Captain, that's not going to work. I also need a moment. Oh.
Let's just going to turn back to Lieutenant Riller. I assume I'm talking to the entity outside.
You are small creatures, so very small.
Yes. What can we help you with? What would you like to know?
My ship needs power to go back home.
We can help with that.
And I think at that, the glow of Rellure's eyes immediately vanishes, and like a puppet with its strings cut, Rellure crashes to the deck. And I think Verissa and Mir try to dive for her, but I do see Cater running across the bridge. I think what happens is she goes down hard, but you're there moments later, Cater.
just going to check on her. Medical scan, tricorder, just make sure she's okay.
Let's just say that she is out of commission for quite a while.
Sure. Captain, permission to take Lieutenant Roar to the medical bay.
Granted, take her.
I'm gonna
Is it still sucking away at our power?
At this point, no, actually. It is stopped, but it is, if we were to do an external shot, it is sort of hovering outside where a window would be if a Prometheus class had windows on the bridge level.
So we can see through the skylight.
Yeah, there you go. Maybe look at the skylight and you can see part of it.
So we're doing this again. All right.
Captain, it might be possible if we get some deeper scans of the vessel that is apparently trapped inside the nest to yoke it with a power transfer beam from our ship.
Possible, yes. Lieutenant Tavarin, I want you to head down to engineering, see if you can bolster our own power supplies. Help Lieutenant Tamarochka.
On my way, sir.
And as Tavarin goes to step into the other turbo lift and departs, Ensign V is actually going to kind of turn in her chair and go, okay, so looking at your scans, you do, I mean, you're not human, but do Caitians do good news, bad news?
Yes, we do.
Cool.
Let's start with the bad.
Well, you're probably going to need to eject a warp core or two in order to power this thing's vessel, so there's that. But hey, the good news, I figured out maybe what it is.
What do you think it is?
So, this is one of Carl's. Yeah, this is definitely Carl's. Sorry,
Carl?
you have no idea who Carl is. Let's just say that someone very, very important to the Q and to, well, humanity, decided to ask Carl, who I probably shouldn't tell you about quite yet. I'm not doing a very good job of this, sorry. This isn't of our universe. It is literally from an entirely separate universe, where rules are different.
Oh, that would make sense from all of our scans so far.
And that comment about the thing being a nest, it's a little hard to say, but I think that the nest is going to collapse in about an hour if nothing is done. But on the good news, that would get rid of the anomaly.
Let's try and power this entity's ship back up. Maybe that will help solve this issue.
Yeah. I think with that, we're going to take our 10-minute break. So we'll be back in about 10 minutes, everybody. Stick around.
can make anyone a friend.
Make it a new friend. So, welcome back, stream. So, if you're just joining in, the crew of the Bastet are basically dealing with an extra universe entity and attempting to help it survive or get back home, or really, it's unclear, but they are attempting to aid it all the same. And in order to do that, they're going to have to basically eject a warp core into a space time anomaly. And one thing I said off stream, but I will reiterate now that we're on stream, I did look it up. The Columbia/NX refit is unable to eject its warp core. So if the players want to use that warp core, they're either going to have to throw the entire ship in, or they're going to have to figure out a way to get the warp core out. But we are actually going to go down to main engineering of the Bastet, where, oh, wow, we haven't used this map in a long time. Let me do a little cleanup. It's one of those things where, Tavarin, you walk in to find that the place is a mess. There are cables running between various consoles. Half the consoles look burnt out. There's the regulation rocks from the bulkhead scattered across the floor. And in the middle of all of it is Tamarochka. And Tamarochka is just kind of looking around with her back to you and going, I'm going to kill them. I've decided I will do it slow. I will do it methodically. And I will make them regret the day that they broke my ship.
We broke your ship. Excuse me, what have you done to my engineering section?
And
God.
she turns and says, oh, good. Someone's actually finally come down to say hello. Well, as you can see, Tavarin, I had to keep the gamma section intact the entire time. I had to make sacrifices.
Why did you sacrifice the most important part of the ship?
Well, I'm not arguing that it's not the most important part of the ship, but it was either do this, and she sort of motions around at the disarray, or I was in anomaly.
I probably would have gone for that. There's less likelihood of damaging engineering in there. The other ship seems to be surviving just fine. Regardless,
Wait, there's other ship? What is this about other ship?
they don't really tell me very much either. All I know is there's some kind of bizarre alien consciousness outside the ship that's trying to consume all of our power, and they want us to restore it as best as possible.
Tamarochka opens her mouth as if to say something, closes it, goes over to a nearby panel that is working, or, it's flickering, and then she performs percussive maintenance, and then it really starts working. And she looks at a readout and goes, oh, I see. Okay. That's interesting. So apparently we need to get more power back. Yes, well, that is good. I can actually do that now that we're back as a whole.
Yeah, you can assist me in doing that. The actually competent engineer should probably take the lead on this.
And I think Tamarochka picks up a wrench and thinks about throwing it, and then thinks better of it and goes, just remember, I know where you sleep. Can be very easy to mess with environmental controls so that you aren't disturbed, but when you wake up, you're extremely uncomfortable.
I could easily reiterate that threat at you.
That assumes you know where I sleep. I don't think you do.
I know the ship like the back of my hand.
Ah, then you would know what is at Junction 17 Alpha. Out of character, you have no fucking idea what's at 17 Alpha.
Of course I do.
Then, go ahead. And she just sort of motions at the engineering bay as if to say, go right ahead.
I don't know what you mean. Go right ahead in terms of restoring power. We have our orders. Monitor the power transfer rates in the EPS junctions at C deck, section 17, because as we both know, if you are so familiar with this ship, that's an area of particular weakness for the EPS relays.
And she just actually kind of starts humming to herself in a little jovial tune as, yeah, I need you to perform a power management task. So this is your choice. It can either be a daring or a control, plus engineering, with a difficulty of 2, and on a success, you get 1 power back, and then for every momentum or threat you spend, you get more power back.
Okay. I think I would go for control because that's higher.
Okay.
And would mental repository and augmented ability control, would those both apply here?
I would say both would, yeah. So I get that brings it down to a difficulty of 1 for you with 1 free success already.
And then I'll take 1 momentum to roll 3 dice
Okay.
with control engineering. And power systems focus.
You know what? It's actually being used for its intended purpose, so why not? All right, so that is 5 successes. So what I would say is you get 4 momentum as you begin to restore power. My question is, how much momentum are you spending, if any at all?
And this is something that I'll put to the group. How many would you like me to use there?
I say 2 would be a good amount.
All right, that would bring you to a total of 10.
In character, I kind of want to use them all to show up Tamarochka.
Do it. Do it.
Do
Do
it.
it.
Okay.
Oh.
Then I'll spend all 4.
All right, in
And,
that case, I
yeah.
believe you are now at 12 power out of 17. And as you do this, as you reroute power from certain decks that don't need it, Tamarocho goes, "Oh, I see. Very nice. Very nice. Oh, you're taking power from there. Interesting choice."
Well, no one really needs the sonic showers on D deck, do they?
No, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the fact that you just removed grav plating from the ready room. I'm sure Captain will be very happy about that.
Well, when that extra little bit of power saves all our lives so that we don't get sucked into a hideous nest of space serpents or whatever is out there, I'm certain that he will be quite pleased by this choice.
I'm sensing anger. Are you upset?
Oh, I think you're the one who's upset.
Oh, I see. This must be Benzite thing.
No, I think this is just me.
And I think that's where we have to cut to a different scene. So we're gonna briefly go to the bridge, but it's one of those things where Alexio, I think it's fair to say you're, as you discussed off stream, you're sort of like caught between 2 mindsets.
Mhm.
On the one hand, you want to help this creature, but on the other, it did hurt one of your members of your crew. And if you'll permit me, what I would say is that maybe you go to check in on Relore, and
Yeah.
instead of finding her in Sickbay, you see that she is on deck 5. And for reference, if I remember my MSD correctly, Sickbay's on deck 7 or 8. So she's 3 decks away from where she should be.
Lieutenant Riddler, I can understand why you wouldn't want to follow this doctor's orders, but you should be recovering.
There is no reply.
Lieutenant, and I'll try and get closer, try and see if she has blue eyes again, whether she's possessed again.
Oh, sorry. I guess I should have been more clear. Like, I imagine you were doing this from the bridge.
Oh,
Like, you're not
I thought
actually,
you said,
like-
go and check. I thought like I was like going down to.
Okay,
Okay, so
poor choice of words on my part. I apologize.
yeah, no, that makes sense. So, I'll turn. I'll actually try and get the doctor on Lieutenant Cater on comms.
All right, so Cater, you awaken to the sound of your comm badge chirping, and you're just on the floor of a turbo lift.
Oh, this is not where I left my car. Oh.
Alexia Decatur.
Cater here. I left a turbo lift.
Well, where are you? I thought you were escorting Lieutenant Valor to the bridge, but she seems to be wandering the decks.
Sickbay.
Don't know. Computer, where am I?
You are currently located on Deck 5, Section Alpha.
I'm on deck 5, section Alpha. Not really sure why I was on the floor, though. Does my head hurt?
Oh yeah, hurts like a mother.
Yeah, but my head hurts. I think somebody hit me. Where did
Captain, I think that Lieutenant Valor may still be under the influence of that being. It appears that she may have had an altercation with Lieutenant Gator and is wandering the decks. With your permission, I'd like to go go after her.
Agreed. Go find her.
And it's right about then that Lexio, as you step off the bridge, Varissa turns and says, well, in good news, Captain, I am reporting a significant increase in power. What do we do from here, sir?
Well, first we need to figure out where this entity's ship is to be able to give it more power.
Well, that much I'm pretty clear. It's at the center of the anomaly.
I'm also of the mindset that I would rather use the Intrepid's warp core than one of our own, if it can be avoided.
Well, I wouldn't disagree. I'm sure Tamarochka would be very happy to keep all our 3 warp cores. But, I'm not so sure that we could remove it from the Intrepid, unless we did some very interesting things with the phases.
That maybe we can get a lock on it through transporters.
And I think V speaks up at this and goes, wait, hold on. What time are you guys from? You're not supposed to be able to beam your warp cores until the 3000s. Oh, I see. Nobody wants to answer me what time they're from. Well, yeah. You know what? I'll be here. I'll just be here. And V does one of those things where maybe she gives a huff and just sort of puts her hand in the lap and just sort of looks around for something to stare at.
Abbassi just kind of looks down for a moment. It was a thought. I don't know any examples of it actually having been done at this point.
And Mir speaks up. No, as to my knowledge, we don't have that ability, sir. Sorry. We lost Brian. We'll keep going. Hopefully Brian will rejoin us shortly. But yeah, I think at this point, what we can do actually is we're going to cut down to deck 5, where Alexio, you finally track down Relore. You find her in a unused, really a unwrapped or a still wrapped science lab. Like there's still that sort of plastic covering, plastic wrapping on all the screens. This place hasn't even been broken in yet or even activated. So the only lights in the room are going to be running lights only, which means it's kind of dark, casting Relure in shadows. And as you
All right.
step in, she does have her back to you.
Can we say, or can I give you threat to say I grabbed a phaser on the way?
Well, let's be clear here. So, as standard issue, you do have access to a Type 1 and a Type 2. If you want a Type 3, that would cost threat, yes.
Okay, so no, I would just have my standard issue. But I'll be sure that it's in my hand and ready as I walk in and say, Lieutenant Releur, I fear you might not be yourself right now.
And she starts laughing. It's a very nervous laugh, very anxious laugh. And she starts to turn to you, and what you see is that streaming from her eyes is a dark liquid. You're not sure if it's blood, you're not sure what it is, but to say the term bloody tears might be a good descriptor. And as she continues to laugh, she goes, I've seen it, Alexio. I've seen it all. I don't know what to do.
And I'll approach her if she doesn't seem like she's threatening me, and I'll just be like, now listen, I wouldn't blame you if you wanted to sock the doctor one, but are you going to take aim at me if I approach you?
Oh, this is what I mean. I've seen this. I've seen where this goes.
You saw the future.
And she doesn't answer verbally, but she does sort of slightly incline her head as if to say yes.
Well, I hope that you saw a future in which I told you that I could never understand what you're going through, but I learned at a very early age how to control my shape. If I didn't, I'd be turning into different forms all day long. It would be madness. And I learned the first thing I learned was how to strip away everything else and just focus on my breath. And I'm just asking you now to please take a second with me just to focus on our breaths and nothing else.
All right, Alexio, I need you to roll me a presence and a medicine here, please. The difficulty is a 2.
All right. Could I know it's a bit of a stretch, but could I use I can make anyone a friend value and tap that to spend my determination on this?
That does seem like a good value. I think there was another one. Maybe your instincts serve you well would be another one, or what you got to do to
Okay.
survive might be a good one. You have a value,
Yeah.
is what I'm getting at.
I think my instincts serve me well could be good because I'm kind of improvising here.
Mhm.
So I'll use my determination. I'll spend my determination here.
Okay.
And then I'll just do a simple roll. And then I have self-control as a focus.
Would definitely apply. All right, so it's a total of 4 successes, gaining you 2 momentum. So as you maybe pantomime actually taking deep breaths in, holding it, letting it out, Relore does the same, and eventually her breath stops being stuttered, her cadence returns to more of a normal one. The liquid coming from her eyes lessens, but is still very noticeable. And as you maybe step closer, Alexia, what you realize, her pupils are unfocused. Like, she's looking in your general direction, but her pupils aren't locking onto you.
Could you tell me a bit about how I could help you, Lieutenant Perla?
I don't think you can help me at this point. I'm blind. I can't see. I can't see anything.
I'm so sorry. I don't know what to say. I just maybe once you make apologies with Lieutenant Cato, he might be able to help you here.
And I think there is just that awkward silence that follows. She doesn't really answer. She just sort of stands there, if I may use the word pathetically.
Why don't you come with me back to Sickbay, and I'll stay with you, and we can focus on our breath together until we figure out a way around this.
All right. So she reaches out with a searching hand, and I imagine she eventually finds yours, and she kind of does that thing where she sort of takes your crook in her arm, like you would like somebody leading a partner in a dance or something similar, where she lets you steer her where you need to go. But yeah, with that, we're gonna cut back to the bridge. Because at this point, what you're seeing is that power has returned. Everything seems to be in order except for the whole cater situation. The question is, Abbassi, what do you do from here? Droxine, same question to you.
See, right now, the Intrepid still has no power, correct?
It has some power, yes.
I guess I'm going to head over to the Intrepid and try and bring it back up to full power. Lieutenant Droxine, I want you to take the lead in this.
You want me to go over to the Intrepid and try and restore
No.
power?
No, I'm going to the Intrepid. You stay here, get back in this seat.
Captain, that's not a prudent course of action. If this
Perhaps.
thing decides that it wants to take the power and you're still aboard the Intrepid, there is little to nothing the Bastet's going to be able to do to keep you safe. So if we're going to send someone over to the Intrepid, let's make it somebody else.
With as dangerous as this is, and I know, I'm not going to potentially sacrifice somebody else in my stead.
Look, you may not feel like you're the captain, but the rest of this crew made you the captain. You can't risk yourself. We're all depending on you. I hate to say it, but your life is more valuable than the rest of ours. So how about I go over to the Intrepid and you stay on the bridge?
I'd rather have you over here.
Well, sometimes it's not about what we'd rather. It's about what is most feasible.
This is
Think
an
of the
order.
crew. Oof.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm looking at your values here. I'm looking at both of your values, trying to see if I can make this even more interesting. I mean, Droxine, you have a lot of things that could apply here. For example, like your value of when the enemy shoots be not there, or greatness can come from the humblest of origins.
Or
I
I'm
feel
not
like
even
I
supposed to
can-
be here today.
Well, that too, but the others, I'm thinking of offering you determination, like a point of determination, if you stick to your guns and further debate the captain. Because I think this is one of those things where I could see your character making this an issue, like an actual like standstill issue. On the other side, though, with Abbassi, I do see you be willing to do yourself what you ask of others. I do see you also like really tapping into that. And that would really give you the point of determination. But I'm going to let you guys decide. Ultimately, they're your characters. I want you guys to do what you feel is most in character.
Captain, with all due respect, that order is bullshit, and you can stuff it straight up your cat ass.
Nice.
Starfleet regulation dictates that as acting captain, you aren't allowed to order yourself off the ship. So I'll tell you what, I'll go down to the transporter room. I'll see you later.
And he stands up and gets ready to leave. Do you do anything about it, Abbassi?
If you enter that turbo lift, I will have you put in the brig until we return to our own time.
You can't afford to put me in the brig.
We have another pilot.
Sure, but you only have 8 other people. You can't run a starship with 8 people. We can barely run it with 9. I mean 10 if you count Ensign V.
Hi.
You can debate me this as much as you want. I'm heading over there.
You know what? I'm standing closest to the turbo lift, and Starfleet regulation and my proximity to it mean no, you're not. And I step backwards into the turbo lift.
And I'm actually going to spend 2 threat that when you step backwards, the doors close and you just slam into the door. You keep trying to back up, but it's not opening. And it actually doesn't beep. It kind of goes that noise.
Oof.
How
Sounds like
about
you're
a
going to need that
compromise?
engineer.
We'll both head over there.
No, that's not a compromise. That's you get what you want and I don't get what I want. So no. Back me up here, Mir.
And Mir actually turns and smiles at the both of you and says, "Sorry, Captain, I've sort of locked out the bridge until you two figure out whatever the hell this is."
We don't have time to debate. If we're going to use the Intrepid, which I recommend against, but you seem to have come to that decision by yourself, we need to do it quickly and we need to do it efficiently. and we need to do it without losing our captain.
How
not
familiar
even
are
supposed
you
to
with the
be on
Warp
this
5
ship.
engine?
I'm just as familiar with a Warp 5 engine as you are. Captain, we need a captain more than we need whatever I am on this ship. I'm not even part of the Bastet's registry. Who knows, in this timeline, I may not even have made it onto this ship. Technically, I'm not under your command, because I'm not under the command of the Bastet command registry. I'm not assigned here.
Fine, go.
Thank you for being reasonable.
And Mir looks to the captain, almost as if to confirm that's his final decision.
Abbassi just nods his head.
All right, Mir unlocks the turbo lift.
I get in it, and then I'm like, why did I do this?
Yeah, and I tell you what, since I like that roleplay, I'm actually going to award both of you a point of determination. And that point of determination does not go away at the end of the session. So just make a note somewhere that you have a free point of determination to spend whenever you like. But yeah, I think at this point, we're going to now jump to the Bastet Sickbay, where walking in are several interesting patients. Now, I should take a moment to talk about Sickbay, because it is a little bit different than what we see in Voyager, where we sort of see that sort of smallish sickbay that wasn't really meant for really anything but like one surgery. The sickbay of the Bastet is actually set up more like a standard Starfleet vessel, meaning that there's an actual room with biobeds. There is a attached lab functionality. There's an office both for the ship's counselor and for the chief medical officer. There's even a front desk of sorts. Obviously not manned, but it is there. The other thing that's of notice in Sickbay is the fact that it has its own attached holodeck and its own transporter pad. So feel free to make of that what you will. But Cater, you stumble into Sickbay, taking a look around, and moments later, before you can really get your bearings, in steps Alexio and Relore right behind you.
I wince as the Relore steps in. Ah! Oh, hello. How you guys doing? Welcome to Sickbay. What's wrong with her eyes? Oh wait, that's my job. I break out a medical tricorder and I walk over to her. I start scanning her.
All right. Just because it could get you momentum, reason, medicine, difficulty of 2.
Reason and medicine. Emergency medicine, infectious diseases. I'm sure I have some kind of focus for this.
Yeah, for this, you would have a focus.
You're a godsend. With a focus, yes.
All right, 1 success. I'm gonna let this succeed at a cost, so I'm actually gonna take 2 threat. So this happens, but this isn't even good news, bad news. This is just bad news and worse news. I guess I'll start with the bad. Bad news. Her entire optic nerve has been burned out, meaning that even if you were to do a regenerator, you're looking at basically replacing everything from her brain to her eye, in order to get it to work again. The worst news is that the levels of, I forget the name of the hormone off the top of my head, basically the betazoid hormone that controls telepathy, empathy, etc. It's past the red line. In fact, it's past the second red line, almost at the third red line where she should be clinically dead.
Cater is going to stay completely calm, look at his readings. Well, you're not dead yet. You might be soon, but I'm going to try to prevent that from happening. Why don't you take just Alexio, if you could take her over to that med bay number 1 right there, that would be fantastic. And then I'm going to step over into my office, set the medical tricorder down, and be like, "What the fuck is going on? Why does this stuff keep happening? I've been totally calm this whole time. Just need to get that out, and then I will step out into the room and walk over and be like, all right, so we're going to have to fix your eyeballs. Here's how we're going to do that. We're going to start with trying to regulate your betazoid hormone that might possibly be killing you right now, right bedside manner. Almost forgot how that works. And how do I do that, ELH? How do I fix it?
So how you do that is, as Alexio and Relure, as you guide one another to a biobed, I'm going to give you an option here, Cater. You can either do a extended task, or you can do a high difficulty single roll.
Oh, extended task. That'll be fun.
Okay.
Feels more in-game for what I'm doing.
Okay. Just to make sure I heard correctly, because you did want to do the extended task, yes?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's get weird.
Okay, because usually when I offer this, the player's like, oh, we're just going to do high difficulty, because...
No. Extended task. Let's get wild.
Yeah, it was a little weird. I was like, oh, shit, they're actually wanting to do an extended task for once. This is new.
I'm like doing multiple steps. It feels more like in-game that I would like I regenerate the one thing and do the hormones. Yeah, so...
Yeah, I gotcha. So, this is going to be and I'm typing this all out. The work track on this will be out of a 12. The magnitude will be a 3. The difficulty is going to start at a 5, but I'll say something on that in a moment. And I will say there is 1 resistance on this. So what I would say is that the difficulty is going to start at a 5. However, you're the CMO, you're in Sickbay, meaning that difficulty goes down by 1, meaning that is only a difficulty 4 for you. And what I would say is you get 1 other source of an assist. And that can either be Alexio or that can be the ship itself. And I'm going to let you decide what that is.
Can I use him?
Okay.
Or wait, Alexio, how's your medicine? Like, are you pretty good at it, or?
I am. My medicine skill is my weakest, actually. So I'm not great, but if I can,
EMH then.
Yeah.
Well, actually, if I can butt in, I actually think it might be more fitting if you just have Alexio help you anyway. It's one of the things I was going to mention that something I'm trying to do not only with the October game but this one. If you come up with an idea and instead of you guys going like, "Hey, what's your medicine?" or "Hey, what's your con?" we literally just say, "Hey, it was your idea, help me," kind of a thing.
I love it. Let's do it.
Right. Yeah, I think that makes sense.
Into Sickbay. Of course you should help. I mean, yeah, let's get after it. I'm sure you have some at least basic medical training, and then I hand him a tricorder.
Besides which, didn't we establish in the opening episode that the EMH is broken?
Yeah, the EMH is also broken. That was the other part.
Yeah. So I hand him a medical tricorder and a cortical stimulator. I'm like, all right, start lowering the betazoid hormone levels. And I'm going to ask ELH if I could spend a momentum to create an advantage because I'm working on my own species. So I would have a good understanding of how like all of her hormone levels work, etc. And I'm not working on like a foreign, like, I don't know. I feel like I know my own species, right?
What I would say is that it wouldn't be 1 momentum, it would be 2 momentum. But yes, you would bring the difficulty down by another 1.
I'm good with it. Let's do it.
All right. So again, this is going to be a control medicine, difficulty of 3 to start with.
All right, control and medicine.
And Alexio, you would be rolling the same for your assist.
I'd like to give you 1 threat because I'm insane to get 1 momentum.
Okay.
Fantastic. And with a focus. Oh God, terrible!
All right, well, that's 1 success, meaning that Alexio, no pressure. You need to roll a 1 here, otherwise you do not make any work on this.
Got that determination.
Oh, jeez.
Don't forget.
I already spent my determination.
And even if he didn't, assisting characters can't use determination.
But what if they could?
Yeah.
Nope.
Oh, man.
So I think what happens is during this first time interval, maybe about 15 minutes, you guys work trying to restore her optic nerve. It's just not working. You're trying some of the best tools in Starfleet to more or less bring life back to dead flesh and dead muscle and dead nerves, and it's just not working.
A frustrated look crosses Cater's face, who obviously he's generally very like gregarious and funny and like stupid or whatever, and he really doubles down on it, and he begins to repeat over in his mind, this like over and over out loud, like under his breath, he repeats, read minds, heal wounds, read minds, heal wounds. And he's going to attempt to just mentally connect with Relore and just keep telling her over and over, like, it's going to be okay. I promise that I will fix you. He's saying it more to encourage himself. This like just this mental connection with her. And I'm going to do that to call upon my determination to spend it to get 2 free successes on this next roll. If that's okay.
No, I think that is entirely good. In fact, I'll even give you a momentum for being so thorough in your roleplay there.
Oh, sweet. Cool. Thanks, man. I will take that momentum and I will spend it. Right. Wait, no, can't spend it on this one because I already spent the determination.
Well, it would be a momentum and a threat.
Oh, nice. Okay, cool. Yeah, fuck it. Let's do it. All right. Let's do it. Threat. And so again, just over and over, he's saying it to himself, but also in her mind, it's going to be okay. I'm going to fix you. Just like, it's going to be okay. I'm going to fix you. And Alexio, you would hear this over and over, even if you try to talk to me. I'm like just hyper focused on what we're doing. And that would be another control and medicine.
Correct. And Alexio, you would still be assisting unless Cater says otherwise.
I'm rolling 2 dice or 3 dice here?
3.
3. Cool. And I have 2 free successes already?
Yep.
What a time to be alive. All right. And God damn it. Come on.
Well, you... Oh, God.
Oh, no.
Oh, God.
Oh, geez.
Oh, God.
Fuck me.
This woman's going to be blind forever, I think.
Well, I'm a terrible doctor.
I
don't know what to say, OH. Like, the dice hate me.
We're having a tough time today.
Yeah, that's rough. Is there any way I can reroll any of that? Like,
no, unless you challenge a value. Like, even if you did challenge a value, you can only reroll your complication. You can't reroll Alexio's complication.
So I am succeeding though.
You are succeeding. So let's focus on the positives.
Yeah.
Here's what I'm gonna do.
I need you to roll me 6 challenge die to represent how much work you get done on this extended task.
Fantastic. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm actually going to challenge focus on what can be fixed. The reason that I'm challenging this is that this isn't something that can be fixed, and I'm trying to bring dead flesh back to life, and I'm beyond frustrated, and I'm like literally just trying anything that's possible, and I'm like going through all the medical knowledge in my head. I've got the computer open next to me. I'm like begging the computer to give me ideas. And I realize in this moment that some things can't be fixed. And I'm going to replace focus on what can be fixed with some things can't be fixed. Can't.
And that would give you your point of determination so that you could reroll at least, you could roll both of those zeros if you so wished.
I'm going to do that. And I keep repeating this, read minds, heal wounds. But at the same time, I'm this in the back of my mind, it's this, I can't do this. This isn't going to happen. We're not even supposed to be here. Maybe the pilot was right. And I'm just like, I'm starting to lose focus and lose control. And so I'm going to reroll 2 dice then.
Yep.
All right. So we're going to do control, medicine, 2 dice with a focus. And I'm going to say a prayer to the dice gods, the RNG gods. Please
RNGesus, hear our cry.
RNGesus, hear our prayer. With a focus.
If you roll another complication, why?
What? There it is. All right, whatever.
Oh my goodness.
That's wild. Let's be real.
Wow. That is
wild.
This woman is not fated to live through this episode.
I did get a success. Let's roll some challenge dice. 4. There you go. Like maybe put back together an eyelid. I don't know. Yikes. Lay it on me, ELH. Just lay it on me.
Oh, okay.
Quick question before he does that. Does he get to roll untapped potential before he rolls his challenge dice? Or
yeah, he does get to roll untapped potential.
So you could do that and see if you can get a
momentum.
A success.
Okay, hey, you get 2 momentum. So now that you have momentum, you could spend at least 1 to re-roll those 3 zeros.
Oh yeah, we're gonna do that. Can I re-roll them 3 zeros?
Yeah, go for it.
Oh my god!
So another 3 challenge dice.
Come on! Like, it can't happen again, right? Like, it can't happen again.
Well, this is challenge dice, not your control
This
magic.
is
This is
challenge
3 challenge dice, not.
Yeah.
All right, so let me roll the challenge dice. All right, hold on. Let me just cancel that. Let's go back and challenge dice. I'm rolling 3.
Mhm.
Hey.
Okay, so that is important. So that is 7 base, and because there's 1 resistance, you only get 6 work done.
Okay.
So here's what happens. You achieve a breakthrough, the difficulty goes down by 1, and you're at least able to lower the hormone levels. With Alexio helping you, though I use help in the loosest of terms,
I'm panicking.
yeah, to say that he's panicking is probably an understatement, but it is one of those things where you are able to at least stabilize her, or at least bring her closer to being stabilized. But again, as you've said already, you're starting to really wonder if you're going to be able to restore her vision.
I reach out and I grab Alexio's arm as he's working with a cortical stimulator or some sort of regeneration thing. I grab him and I say, "Get the fuck out of my medical bay. Just leave me alone." And it's not directed exactly at you, Alexio, but more at just the situation. And I'm taking out my anger directly on you. And it's in this moment, like it's the first time you've seen me really start to break, because I'm always joking, right? But he's breaking right now. And it's your choice whether or not you leave, but I just completely ignore you moving forward.
Yeah. I'll be right outside. Please, doctor. Anything you need, I'll be right outside.
Computer,
And I'll just stumble out and take a seat.
computer, close medical bay, seal doors. And I'm going to completely focus in on what I'm doing and pray to the Lord Jesus that he doesn't fuck me anymore.
Well, as Alexio goes and maybe takes use of the 2 couches near the transporter pad, we're actually going to transition to the Bay of the Intrepid, where Droxine, you step through the archaic-like portal and into the engineering bay to find that, the Type 5 engine is currently running and is starting to thrum back to full power. But as you sort of enter into the engineering bay, you kind of look around and go, fuck, what do I do now?
Now what? Wait, what? We were gonna figure out a way to Droxine to Bastet.
Okay, to be clear, who are you calling on the Bastet?
Well, in theory, so the bridge, I guess, because that's who you get when you call just the ship.
All right. Abbassi, do you answer?
I want to say no, but probably yes. Go ahead.
Tell me again what I'm doing here. I like that I got here, and I'm like, okay, now that I'm here, now what? What was I doing again?
Oh, that's brilliant.
Well, I know what I was going to do.
Yeah, just say it out loud for us, just so everyone can hear it, maybe.
Bring the Warp 5 engine up to its red line. Bring it as high as it can go before a warp core breach.
Okay. What? Wait, you thought you would be better at breaking an engine than me? Whew. Boy, do I have news for you.
You might be better at breaking it, but I'm probably better at keeping it from going critical.
Yeah, but I don't need to keep it from going critical. Isn't that the whole point? Meanwhile, I remove all the safety inhibitors.
I just imagine you're like running to every like panel and just flipping all the switches and just flipping all the pushing all the buttons and spinning all the dials. And so Droxine,
Droxine is a competent engineer, so that we're clear. I do have a 3 in it. It's not my weakest stat by any stretch of the imagination, so I'm average.
so you know which dials to turn. Let's do it that way.
Not just spinning dials randomly.
All right, so Droxine, this is going to be a daring engineering, difficulty of 3, but I feel like being evil because I have threat. I'm actually going to bring that difficulty up to a 5 with threat.
Oh, jeez. Oh, jeez.
And what I'm going to say here is I'm not going to spend any additional threat to make it a complication range of more than a 20, but a complication on this means that you essentially trigger a warp core breach. Now, you can probably still beam away in time to live, but you would blow up the Intrepid.
I was like, also, isn't the Intrepid like right next to the... belly of the.
Oh yeah.
So I mean, I might beam over to the other ship, but that doesn't mean I'll survive. All right, I have another determination this session. It turns out, and I know it doesn't expire if I have it still at the end of this session, but I need it. So, going to spend my determination.
All right.
I just want to get home to my girl.
Fair.
Just to make this work, and I can go back home. And then I'll spend a threat and that momentum to make it
For a third die.
for a third die. Composure as a focus.
I'll give it to you.
All right. Oh,
All
no.
right. So
I do it.
you do it, but you also trigger a warp core breach.
Dice beat us tonight. I'm just glad it's not only me.
Can I use the engine settings in the engine room to set the ship to fly toward the other ship? Essentially, like, oh shit, it's breaching. Boop, 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 boop.
Yeah,
And
I
then-
think that's what we're gonna have to do here. Is what happens is you get the thing to redline, and that high pitched engine hum gets higher and higher and higher, and maybe like sparks begin to shoot out of the core itself, and you maybe tap your
Hey.
comm badge and go, "Hey, I need to go."
Hey, Captain, remember that time that I said that I was good to break engines? Yeah, this one's real broke. I'm going to need to come back. Also, it's going to breach, so you may want to start moving away now.
Of course it is. All right. Get back to the transporter room. We'll get you back.
All right.
I don't have that kind of time. Requesting a site-to-site transport, sir?
All right.
All right, and as you beam away, we actually go to an external shot of the wormhole where the Bastet releases its tractor beam hold on the Intrepid, and the Intrepid flies towards the boundary of the anomaly. And as it enters into the anomaly, what you see is that it becomes almost a miniature sun in how bright it is. But there's a massive matter-antimatter explosion that doesn't leave the boundaries of the anomaly, but that sort of space-time bubble that consumes this explosion, it goes up in what is essentially a contained firework manner where colorful, almost prismatic colors spray out from the core of the anomaly, and the creature leaves the Bastet and immediately flies into the anomaly right as it begins to shrink and shrink, and eventually it becomes just this tiny little pinprick of light, and then it winks out of existence.
Meanwhile, I see none of this as I'm running from the
Yeah.
transporter room to the bridge.
So we're going to go back to Sickbay. And
Oh.
yes, it is at this point that, Cater, I am going to need a difficulty 2 control, or at this point, I would even give you daring and medicine.
Both of those are the same, but I'm going with daring just because maybe the RNG will like me more.
Okay.
So at this point, doors are sealed. I am unbuttoned, like pulled this down.
Mhm.
I've got my sleeves up, and I'm just going to town, trying to fix my friend and fellow Betazoid. And I'm gonna spend that momentum
Mhm.
because 3 dice are better than 2.
Well,
And
you say that now.
well, we'll find out what happens. And with a focus, Jesus, I don't even understand how this is possible. Like, everyone hates me. Can I give you a threat to reroll one of those?
Well, you give me a threat from that.
I give you a
but
threat
no,
from the time that I.
the only way to reroll dice at this point is to do another determination, but I don't know that you can challenge anything further. I think you're just gonna have to accept failure here.
I don't wanna.
I know.
Can I try one more time?
You're gonna have to give me a really good reason why to try one more time.
So there is a moment where Cater sets his equipment down
Mm-hmm.
and I step back from the medical bay.
Mm-hmm.
And I look out into the room. I see Alexio. I look back at my patient.
Mm-hmm.
I look at the medical bay. And I say aloud, if you don't fix her, then you are not worth anything.
Mm.
This is what you must do. Failure is not an option. Now pick up that fucking medical tricorder and fix your friend. And I'm speaking to myself, and I pick up the medical tricorder, I step forward,
Mm-hmm.
and I give it one last try.
All right. For all the marbles. You don't have any momentum. You would have to give me threat. Well, let's roll your untapped potential, because you could get momentum.
Oh boy. Probably just gonna give you threat.
Oh,
my
hey,
God.
no.
momentum!
You got a momentum.
The dice love me. I'm gonna spend that.
Which I imagine you're literally spending right away.
Absolutely. All right. Daring, medicine, with a focus. All right. So this one time at
Band camp.
At medical camp,
Mhm.
I didn't fail miserably. Yes, finally! Yes! Yes! Ah! Go! Okay, all right. About goddamn time. Jesus.
Oh, I love it. I love
Sorry
it.
for swearing. I'm just real passionate right now. It's been a rough time.
You're fine. You're fine. So that is 4 successes, and that means you get 2 momentum. I need you to roll me 6 challenge dice here to represent how much work you do. The magic number here is you need to see 7 successes on this in order to fix her, quote unquote.
I should just save those momentum to re-roll dice, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Okay, I'm probably gonna roll like 1, but that's fine. 6, you said I roll? 6 of them?
Yep, 6. Okay, so that is 4. Now, what I would say is you can re-roll as many of those as you wish.
Okay.
So it doesn't just have to be the zeros.
I need to get 7?
You need to get 7 in order to complete this right now.
Oh my god. I don't.
The other thing I would say is that if you are able to re-roll those 2 zeros and get at least 2 further successes, you could then spend the remaining momentum to just get 1 additional success flat out. Which you do. All right.
I drop to my knees next to the medical bay, and I place it down as like I see her eyes beginning to regenerate, I assume, and like maybe she blinks a few times, and like I'm just covered in sweat and disgust at myself at my almost massive failures. And I reach down and I place my hand on her shoulder. I told you it was going to be all right.
All right, let me type this out real quick. I'm gonna message you something on Discord.
Okay. That's scary.
And I guess while I'm typing this out, let's just actually switch scenes so that we can keep the roleplay going. We're gonna return to the Bastet Bridge, where Droxine has returned to his post.
Well, no, I'll step
Oh,
off.
wait, Tavarin. I knew I was forgetting someone. I'm so sorry, Matthew. Tavarin, unless you want to really stay in engineering, you can be back here as well.
I think that I would have returned to the bridge at this point, yes.
All right, yeah. So, Tavarin, you probably come in on the opposite turbolip of Droxine.
I step off the turbolift and then permission to resume my post, Captain?
Granted.
Captain, what exactly happened while I was in engineering? I'm starting to understand the frustration of our erstwhile lieutenant down there.
The Intrepid's warp core breached. We sent it into the anomaly, and now the anomaly appears to be gone.
And do we have any idea that that actually solved any of the problems other than just destroying a nest of infant, I don't know, black hole aliens?
And V very cautiously raises a hand.
Abbassi just kind of looks over towards V, just waiting.
Sorry, I didn't want to interrupt the tender moment. Let's just say that I mean, I've blown a lot of things up when I was a Q, like a lot of things. That didn't look like an explosion that would destroy. If anything, I think you let them get home.
Impressive work, Lieutenant Droxine. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I would have done it better without actually accidentally starting a warp core breach, but
I was wondering when that was coming.
As this is going on, Abbassi just stands up. I don't care who has the bridge right now, and just walks off to the ready room.
And because I find it hilarious, you step foot into your ready room, the gravity has not returned. So
Yeah.
you kind of step through and you just sort of start spinning over and over until you hit the wall of your ready room. And everybody sees this. Everybody sees and hears this. And I think Varissa kind of looks past the door and goes, Captain, are you all right?
Doesn't even say anything. Door slide shut.
Nice. Nice. All right. And if that wasn't bad enough news, I don't know, Cater, what are you going to do about that information I just told you?
So I am going to give her a sedative to keep her under for a while. I'm going to step back into the waiting area. I'm going to walk over to Alexio. I'm going to extend my hand to shake his. Do you take it? You're muted.
Yeah, you're muted.
Yeah, I take your hand, and but I'm babbling at the same time. Is she okay?
I shake his hand firmly. Her eyes are repaired, though I do not know if she can still see. It could be some sort of mental block. I need some more time to analyze the medical data I received. Would you go and sit with her, please?
Of course.
Without letting go of your hand as you try to walk past me, I apologize for my outburst. I realize you were just trying to help, but this was something that I needed to do myself. Thank you for being a friend and a colleague. And I'm going to walk into my medical office and close the door.
Okay.
I owe that man a drink, and I'll walk in over and sit with. I'll walk over to sit with Lieutenant Rilla.
All right. It's probably about then, as we cut back to the ready room, that somebody figures out that you're still missing gravity, probably Tamarochka. And you sort of come to your feet, Abbassi, and are landing. This is the first time we've actually used the ready room. Nice. So the ready room on the Prometheus class is different than what we see in, say, TNG or like we see with Janeway. Your ready room is actually kind of compact. Not as much as, say, a Defiant class, but you don't have a fish tank. You don't have just a bunch of couches. You literally have your desk, a few potted plants, and 2 chairs. Well, obviously one at your desk as well. But again, no extra couches, no extra places for people to sit. This is not an entertainment room. This is a business room, if you get what I'm meaning. And as you sit down and look at your terminal, Abbassi, I'm just curious, what's going through his mind right now?
Trying to just process everything that's just happened. The fact that there is a former Q on board, the argument with Droxine, the fact that what he said not to let happen is what happened. Feeling incredibly frustrated and not sure of what he's supposed to be doing.
And I think I'm going to spend threat in an interesting way here, that maybe as you look at your terminal, I don't think we've discussed this yet, or if we have, I haven't made note of it. Does Abbassi have a family?
Yes.
Married, kids?
I'd say married, but no kids.
All right. Then I think what you're going to see is, as you absentmindedly look at your terminal, you see a picture of wife, husband, whoever
Wife.
it is, whichever. You see your significant other, and they're smiling. It's a happy picture. But I'm curious how they would react to that.
Probably they would try and reassure Abbassi that he's doing what he can with what he knows.
All right. So maybe you hear in your mind those sort of ephemeral, reassuring words, but no actual verbal noise is made.
I say he's probably just going to be sitting there staring at that picture.
All right. And before we go, there's at least one other scene I want to handle. So a few days have passed at this point. We find ourselves in 2 Forward, the lounge area of the ship, or at least where people are more or less going to hang out. And there is Alexio and Tavarin. At this point, you've each kind of gotten your drinks and have a seat, but I do kind of want to hear from these 2 characters before we end up today's session. I'm curious where you'll go, kind of a thing. One point of note, though, for Tavarin's sake especially, you're technically off duty right now.
And Tavarin has just side-saddled into one of the chairs in the Riker maneuver, and he is holding in a kind of frothing mug of what you would recognize from the odor and your experience with Klingon culture to be blood wine. Lieutenant?
I'm also drinking the same thing.
Vintage?
It's sort of my attempt at a moonshine version. I owe Lieutenant Tamarochka a whole bottle.
Did you use the still that they've got on this ship?
Yes, I've been experimenting with it. It's pretty strong stuff. What I need right now.
I won't ask you where you got the blood, but when we talked last, I mentioned that Starfleet was a family. Do you want to talk about it?
You're going to just think that I'm a very silly child, but all of this had the feeling of a game to me until Lieutenant Riller was seriously injured. I'm scared about what could happen to us all alone out here. And I used to think that your insistence that Starfleet was a family was a joke, but I think that maybe the real joke was my pretense that I could just go through life not caring.
And I'll admit that I didn't respect your position regarding Starfleet and its conduct. But ever since Lieutenant Droxine told us about this clandestine intelligence arm of Starfleet operations, it's been a little bit more difficult for me to think of the Federation or Starfleet as a family. But I don't know. Looking at what happened to Lieutenant Rillor, it certainly feels like it again. It's what I felt when my father lost his leg.
Maybe not Starfleet as a whole, but at least you, me, and the 8 other people on this ship. And I'll take my class if you want to link to that.
I will. Here's to family that we were born into and that we find.
And I think as you sort of clink glasses, we do that stereotypical thing where we sort of zoom out a window and the somber little trombone plays. And that's where we're going to end today's session. That was really good. I really enjoyed that one.
Amazing premise. Amazing premise, ULH. The opportunity for role play and terrible RNG rolls was just
Yeah, I want to be clear. Like, I have no control over the dice. I am just as much as a fate as you all are.
On your tricks.
You literally have stolen Groundskeeper's luck. Somehow you have stolen their luck.
But just Wolf.
Just me. That's okay. I accept this. I accept this reality.
Well,
my new value is know when to quit, then don't.
And then don't.
Yeah, that's the new one. So
I would not trade that for anything, though. I am not at the time, but in retrospect, glad we failed because I think it really got you to bring your A game, Wolf. I think you really brought your A game in terms of how you were handling that situation.
That felt like Star Trek.
Yeah, definitely.
I genuinely enjoyed the scene, and I was emotionally invested and actually stressed out, which is what a good role-playing game should be. It should really get you invested. It should feel real in the moment, and it did. And I think it will change Cater in some ways, and I'll be thinking about that over the next week until we play again. So, yeah.
And I tried to give everybody an emotional moment there. I think I skimped on Droxine, but I'll make it up in a future session. But yeah, with that, I'm going to end the YouTube recording, but Twitch, stick around for a little bit longer because we're going to raid somebody. But YouTube, see you later. Bye-bye, YouTube.